Assalamualaikum, mijn naam is Nizaam Hendricks. Ik is 31 years old. Ik is van de Sherwood Park. Mijn pa's naam is Nizaam Hendricks. Mijn pa's bijnaam is Babu, dat schreef om Babu. Mijn ma's naam is Fatima Hendricks. Zij is Maningang. Mijn broers naam is Omar, alle kennen hem als Maatje. Ismail, alle kennen hem als Maili. Mijn oma's naam is Karida, dat was kennen als Kati. Mijn auntie's naam is Gava Petersen. Dat is van de district 6.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Nizaam Hendricks. I was born in Cape Town. But I was forcibly removed from Bukap. My parents is Zainab Hendricks. My father's name was Ismail. My father was from Cape Town, also Bukap, Dorp Street. My mother was also from Cape Town, Bukap. And from there my parents split. And me and my mother and my siblings, we lived together up till I end up in Sherwood Park, where I still live today with my family, my 3 sons. I'm 61 years of age, but everybody knows me as Babu. I had a wife, her name was Fatima Hendricks. She passed on in 2015.
Ik kan nou niet hoe het gespeeld in de driveway. Toen loop ik uit voor die boom. Hij zei wat ik doe. Om mijn kar word ik gestapt. Hij zei wat ik doe.
From the age of 2 years old, he was in a motor car vehicle accident. I was at work. I was in a retail business, and we were stationed in Montague Gardens. I got a phone call from my in-laws to notify me that my son was in a motor car accident. Then I rushed to home. When I got home, they were already on the way to hospital with him. And on the way to hospital, I moved also to the hospital, and I see my son lying there. Just because his head was very, very swollen in the day of the accident. It looked like a rugby ball the day I saw him in the trauma unit. And I thought to myself, is my son gonna make it? Because the way I see him, he didn't look all good. Then the doctor came to me and he said I'm gonna take him to the theater. After a couple hours, then the doctor said to us, they have to rush him for an emergency operation because I don't think he's going to make it. Stabilize him, they move him into ICU. And from there, a couple of weeks, he stayed in ICU. They called us in. We were every day in hospital. Every day we were in hospital from the day 1 He's in a coma. Then he said to me, this thing is going to be a vegetable one day. He's not going to make it. He's paralyzed from the spine down. Then it was a shock to us. We didn't take it well. But we make dua every day. Night and day we make dua for him.
May ma may ako na wako aplan may coffee. Kasi sa Nizaam, yung coffee. Of something talo sa'yo daw. To tik baka no sekarang. Of something sakali sa meni baka ni. Dan wasa cuma langis me kuai. Dan satu meno sa meno vasin may antari kin sakal in no kuta. Nanistu siap semua nistu di nama lain.
And then the doctor called me. He said to me, Mr. Hendricks, I think your son, when he had a relapse, there's something wrong with his lungs. We had to rush him to theatre to operate. I said, doctor, no cutting on my son, no operation, open him up, nothing. Then the doctor came to me again. He said, no, he assured me, your son is in capable hands. We're just going to take an X-rays first and see what's inside, what's wrong with the lungs. Come back and he said to us, his lungs is in the water. Then I asked him, doctor, will my son be fine? Will he be all right? He said to me, don't worry, he'll be all right. But he was still in a coma. Then he came to us after, say, 2 days again. He said to us, Nizaam is on a live machine. And that was shocking to me. I couldn't take it, me and my wife. To think my son is on a live machine. Give him 3 days, then they're going to switch off the machine. I said, no way, doctor, I'm going to switch off that machine. Nobody's going to switch off that machine. If there's to be switched off, Allah will switch it off, if it is time. He left him on the machine. He was on the machine for 3-4 weeks. And the professor examined him, and the professor came to us and he said to us, don't worry, I see he's breathing on his own. There's a good sign. We'll just have to wait and see what is the outcome, if his breathing going to improve. And alhamdulillah, it did improve. There's a lot of complications with him, but then he was still in a coma. After another month, they said they move him from Red Cross to Groote Hospital. And there they see neurosurgeons, people who's working with your head, brain, and everything, his hearing, everything was tested and examined, but they said it was all fine. Said another month, then they see his eyes open. He got awake from the coma, but he couldn't speak. He was just there, open his eyes and looking up to the ceiling. And then I again make dua and I said to Allah, shukr to Allah, my son is back with us.
Ang pahit tapi kalau anto ko mais, ifua cek opam may paltet sekali, open step itu barang, and very fua dia ko, open step yang tadi ko aki rims in mayat as ongemakkelijk as voor gaten makia itra gazamin wordt of paving of.
They discharged him home. Then we built him a small little seat for him to sit in from wood and cardboard. Sit him in there during the day until one day they bring him a wheelchair. He was sitting with his grandma in the kitchen in that small chair we made for him. And then my grandma was baking a cake. And then he starts saying, Mama, cook. So he will start talking, and everybody was grateful because he can talk again. Then she called us all in the house to come and hear what they in the kitchen. And there he was talking. And we were so glad and happy that he can talk again with us and communicate with us. I was very frustrated. My wife couldn't cope. I had it with the doctors, and a lot of difficult things happened. And it was a very difficult time, the time of the accident. Even my whole family, it was like he's the smallest and the youngest, and was in a lot of pain. We make dua for him, and we cried every single day. And I think it's through that Allah accepted our duas and bring him back to us.
Namin mama ningalit. Tuyap may pa no. May bata mo ng yap was anterik. Yap anterik. En dan is stoel zit. Uit die stoel uit daal. En uit bij de huis neem. Af bij de stepje voor. Uit mijn huis uit.
Yes, at the beginning, she was very secretive. She was in denial. She didn't want to talk about it. But I could sense something wasn't right with her. Then one day I asked her, Fatima, sê vir my, wat is die probleem? Wat maak jy met jou? Sy hou alles in, maar ek kan mos sien, sy kan nie cope nie. Iets is verkeerd met jou. Sy moet uitkom by 'n dokter. Then she burst into tears and she confided in me and said to me, I think I've got cancer. Then she said, they transferred to the hospital, to Grote Skee. And from there they took x-rays and examined her, and then they found out she had breast cancer. So they had to remove the one breast. And that was very painful for her, and she couldn't cope and take that because I know she's going to lose something on her body. And she went for the operation to remove her one breast, and she lived with that. Because her hair fall out, she went completely bald, but she accepted it. Afterwards, she accepted everything. And after 2 years, the cancer came back. And it hit her so hard that it made her so weak that she couldn't even do anything. Then she was rushed back to hospital. She was in hospital for about 3 weeks. And after that, she passed on. She sits here in the dining room with her coffee in the mornings, right in this chair here. And when she's finished there, she starts with Nizaam. And then he leaves the house. Or she takes him somewhere to her mother, and then she stays there with him all day. And I was a man, I was having a small stall, selling fruit and veg. I'm working every day, and I worked there for 18 years. There in Manenberg on the corner there at the Downs Road. That my wife was there every day. She come there, bring him wood, come fetch the money for the food and the vegetables, and then they come back home and they start preparing the food, and he's with his mother every day.
Right, toen kom ik bij de Orient. Ik was 8 jaar oud. Toen begon ik bij Orient. Tot ik nou tot die wanneer we staan nou 21 jaar. En hier was het terug, hier is het terug zodat ik aan niet, hier was het terug zodat en hoe ze zich gewoon, en hoe ze zich kwijt op een. Hoe ze het na, hoe ze het exhibition, hoe ze het oorgevat op Etlon, of het oorgevat op Greenpoint Stadium, op Etlon Stadium. Hoe ze kan niet, alle carnivals bieden haar een exhibition, nou nog niet. Daarom doe vat het weg. Ik wil alle carnivals bieden, voor die Orients bieden. En die oude van die clubs, Fadil Hassan, alle kolom, alle kinderen als va. Hij is de kwijste oude clubs, oude baas, clubse baas. Wat ik zo veel kijken. Hij is de kwijste, hij is de beste. En als die hom, wat ik clubs, wat ik padvatten clubs, als die hom.
Is Nizaam. Hy het nog nie ander coons gejoin nie. Net hy is, because he's fond of that coons and he loved the people of the Orient. And they love him also. We're like a family there at the Orient. You don't leave until you hear the man say, Mr. Hassan say, we are finished with the practice or we are finished with the meeting. Then Nizaam will move. If you see the people move out, then he also move.
En als die clubs uitgaan, en willen mij niet stoot. Kerry, die ene zijn naam is Kerry, wat mij stoot. En soms is Hamad en mijn pa. Als het stadium tijd is, dan is mama, mijn oma, mijn aunties allemaal op het stadium, mijn nachtjes allemaal. Onze outing, enjoyment was, als ons aangekomen bij het stadium, het staan er allemaal op. Het schrijven mij en allemaal die, en moet ik nog opkijken en allemaal die dingen, als ze bangelen voor mij en allemaal. En als ik klaar ben, roepen mij dat ze me eten en allemaal die.
That's right. My in-laws, my family, when they come to the stadium, they bring the whole kitchen with all the food, and it will be there on the stadium with them. And when they start eating, whoever's around them, doesn't worry if you're family or not, they will dish each and everyone who's around them. That's how they want to be, and that is their tradition, to help and give people. Everybody wants to go to him, hug him, kiss him, and they admire him with his outfit, his klopse kleren. They entertain him, and I'm happy for that. Every time it was such a joyous times at the Kroons when it's carnival and when it's competition time. And that's how it goes every year with our family. My mother-in-law, she's now 79. She's got Alzheimer's, but she's a woman. She don't want to hear about other coons. If you sit there by her with her, you talk about other teams, she will tell you, no, don't talk about them, that teams. Talk about Orient, because we are Orients. She's very fond and love Orient. When he got to become a youngster, he was a like a guy that likes to move with friends, out to friends. Then we eat our supper together when I come from work. And from there, fix him to get him into bed.
Sevelim fana ua parati.
Menenberg Rangers, yeah, the club Menenberg Rangers. And we're trying to build it up now again. Because since from the COVID-19, I love Menenberg Rangers, passionate of the game and the club, because I grew up here in Sherwood Park to see what the club started and how it became until it went down because of COVID-19. But we are 100% sure we're going to build it up again and bring it back to where it was.
In pai sukan si me pa wat so pai tunin am pai sukan from se ik zie het altijd voor me maar ik is pai li voor me pa en voor me broers en so dus kali kan me pa me pai wat hij moet wit dat ik is pai li voor daarom skialik wat ik meen het niet. Ik meen dat die bij de waarde, ik heb die vorm. Assalamualaikum, syukran atas ibu anti. Khawa, saya dan alles wat ik paraat aan. En zat ze samen paraat met mij. Koop ze met een pakket chips of zo. In het drinken. Het was een naas. Oleh ke pai syukuran, oleh kalau saya pai syukuran, dan saya sekali ada apa mai di family, ada alat pemadat iets gekry, ada koep van mij wat ik wil hê.
Daar's tye wat ek vir hom sê kom hy so maar sy eie tyd. Daar raak ek kwaad vir hom, ek skel saam met hom. Hy is ek strong, hy is baie hardkoppig. Hy gee nie, hy wil nie verhoor wat ek vir hom sê nie. And sometimes it's funny. He's not like every day the same, but this most of the time he's headstrong. Hy wil net sy eie kop se ding doen en hom reg wil hê. But most of the time I give it to him. En so aan, ek en hy bly vassit, ons sit baie vas. Maar alhamdulillah, ons is nie kwaad vir mekaar nie, ons is net vir nou, wissel miskien 'n paar woorde, dan is dit alles weer oor. Want ek is baie lief vir hom, vir al my 3 kinders, ek is baie lief vir hulle. That's why is ek nog altyd saam met hulle. Ek stiek saam met hulle tot die dag ek nie meer kan nie. Until my last breath, terwyl Allah vir ons by mekaar hou, sal ek bly saam met hulle. En as hulle wil eendag decide hulle wil move, they can go, they can move on their own. But ek sal bly saam met my kind, saam met Nizaam. Kom, ek het hy promise gemaak aan sy ma. Ek sal kyk na hom. Maar nou gaan ek maar kyk, wat die geld as ek bymekaar kan maak, dan gaan ek myself weer rempie daar opsit vir hom. To make it much easier and comfortable for him.
My message was die mense daar buite wat op hulle bene kan staan en kan loop. Hulle moet net die grond tot wat hulle moet kry voel as dat hulle kan nog loop op hulle twee bene. Ek kan nie loop meer nie. Ek was 2 jaar oud, was ek in die accident. Dus staan my kar mee om. Tot nou toe wat ek nog so sit. Julle moet dankbaar as julle kan nog loop, julle kan siya wihap en allemaal die dinge. Ik kan my siya wihap, but net sekere dinge wat ek kan siya doen nie vir my aan myself en het voel vir my baie hartseer soms as ek dit kan doen nie.
Allah's in charge. Not me, not you. Allah's in charge. Allah don't want my son now. You want him to live. And alhamdulillah, my son is still here today with us to the sake of Allah. And I'm grateful to Allah that he is here with us. Yeah, they just have to believe in themselves, do the positive things and the right things, and adhere to their parents, because it starts from there. But today, the children is only children when they're in the house. But when they leave the house in the street, they're no more children, your children. I grew up in Manenberg, Sherwood Park. I've noticed all that during my years in this area. How the kids' actions, the attitudes, the manners and the attitudes they have towards elderlies, it's not good. Whatever problem they have or facing, they must just continue doing it. I know it's very hard, but if you believe, then Allah will make it easy for you. That's what I can tell the parents that's single. Don't give up hope. Continue. Go on with the good work you're doing. Whoever you're doing with disabled children, elderlies, and ask Allah to guide you and help you. And you'll see everything will come.
Ik moet zoeken als je bij SKYLIMIT is een gevaarlijke project om op te gaan bij de mensen. Als een kwaai iets. Ons kan praten wat ons wou met SKY, ons kan praten wat ons wou, ons kan praten wat ons wou. Als een kwaai iets en ik hoop al die best van voor hulle, voor die way forward toe.
First time I meet up with you now in this, like a program like this, I will just say to you, keep it up. You're doing great what you're doing, Fatima. I'm proud of you and your team. I'm very glad for you, and I hope you prosper in the future. Allah make it easy for you and your family and your team. Shukran, shukran, shukran.
Ada foto wat boy. Ada foto wat boy.
Foto van mama.
Ja.
Zeker.
Ja, tot recht. Ja, recht, ja. Goed toch, dan moet man op je doen. Ja. Hoe ik geprepareerd ben, nou. Hoe dan? Nou ja, ja. Ik kan nog overpassen, nou ja.
Ja.
Naast de stem overpassen. Ja.
Ada interview man.
Bij die pomp is.
Oh, niet.
Weet mami?
Nee, dat is bij mij niet. Het is ook goede pomp is. Ja, hij moet op ons komen geweest.
Ja, hij moet niet zien. Hij gaat gestraft worden.
Ja.
Hij is een bus koffie.
Ja, nog
Hij is een bus koffie. Hij vloekt hier voor die mensen niet. Hij moet niet aan de rani. Politie, hij dat politie. Wacht, ik hoef pak politie voor mij. Oeps.
Ja, alright. Ik wil ook komen in de meester.
Mensen wat die kon moeilijk maken.
Moeilijk maken, ja. Moeilijk maken.
Ala kani laki na lalaki waiti. Ala blaze.
Así. Muy tan. Aniran kelemahan ini dia tuh. Angka kata. Asal anu sih, akilang kani anu. Salam. Iya, kak.
Als de jakkals je bereid op